you had an accident as a kid and you lost vision in your eye. Let's talk about that and sort of how that affected your life.
Well, I was a young kid and made a mistake and had a pencil injury to my eye when I was probably, I don't remember exactly, so many years ago, 4 or 5 years of age. And it was a nightmare. My eye lost the vision. And then I also had a roving eye. My eye would just rove on me. I could never look anybody straight in the eye. And I would get teased like you wouldn't believe. And I always thought it was nothing but teasing. And then when I'd go pitch in a little league, and I was a pretty good pitcher, Nick. I mean, I was a good athlete, basically. Not great, but I was a good athlete, and I threw fairly hard. And I'd hear parents yelling. I thought it was just, teasing. It's way of life. You got to deal with it. But, hey, does he know where he's throwing the ball? Look at his eye. Where's he throwing? Where's he throwing? The other team. And at the end of the night, I would go home to my room, and I'd cry like a baby. I'd stare at the mirror, look at my eye, could never look at anybody. If I looked somebody like this, they would turn their head because my eye would go left, right, wherever. I had no control. And it just tore my heart out. I mean, it really did. And fortunately for me, I had a great mom, great dad. I missed them so much. They were uneducated, but they had a fifth-grade education, but they had a doctorate of love. And my mom used to come in the room, "What's the matter, Richie?" Italian way. "What's the matter, Richie?" It was never did. And I can't control my eye. I get choked up thinking about those days, Nick. They just really tore me out. And then people don't realize, and finally I did a thing about bullying a few years ago, and how people don't realize how they hurt people. It hurt them so much. Fortunately for me, because I had such unbelievable inspiration and motivation from my mom and dad and my family supporting me, I was able to get through those tough times. And I got a lucky break when I started coaching in college down there in the University of Detroit. My wife took my daughters for a typical eye test to, get checked their eyes out when they were young. And the doctor, Dr. Giles, he and I talk still this day. He was just a beautiful guy. He was the head of University of Michigan Eye Hospital. And he tells my wife, he says, "Your name's Vitale. Are you any relation at all to Dick Vitale, the coach of the University of Detroit, all that jazz?" And now on TV, I see him on TV. I was at that time just starting out with ESPN. And she said, "Yeah, that's my husband." He said, "Does anybody ever told him about his eye wandering? I could fix that. I could definitely fix that." And he said, "I'm a pediatric eye doctor, but I would make an exception, and I would do surgery on him if he would allow me." So she came home and told me that. And I didn't want to go anymore. My mother took me to so many doctors, and my father when I was younger and had my problem. But I eventually relented, and I went there, and I saw him. And he said to me, I can correct that eye. He said, "But you got to sign these papers, and I have to tell you this up front. I have to operate on your good eye to straighten out the eye, somehow pulling the muscle, et cetera, and centering them." And man, that shook me, because he said to me, "There's always a chance whenever you're doing eye surgery like that, there's a chance you can lose vision in the other eye. But the bottom line is I've never, ever lost vision, ever, in any patient I've ever operated on. Trust me. And he said, "It'll change your life." And I went home and I said to my wife, "I can't do that. I can't just take that chance. My one eye." So anyway, the bottom line was, I'm in the studio at ESPN. I'm in the studio working on a Sunday night. And we always had a habit when we walk out of the studio after finishing, we'd say to the girl, the receptionist, "Any phone calls?" So, Nick, in my business, if you got phone calls, it means you're hitting a home run somehow. Somebody screaming and yelling didn't like what you said. I came out and she says, "No, not really any calls except one guy." She says, "And he got me so annoyed." I said, "What do you mean?" "He kept screaming he wants me to give him a number to our president. He wants to get you off the air. He can't stand looking at your eye." It was like a knife. Went right through me again, reflected back to my days in the Little League, reflected back to my eye. Oh my God. The one, I could control my emotion. I could control my ability and my talent, prepare, be ready, but I couldn't control my eye. I had no control. And it just drove me nuts. So anyway, I came home and I called up my boss, Steve Anderson. When I got into the Hall of Fame, Steve was there and broadcasting, and I told the story because a lot of people didn't know that story. I says, "Steve knows that I came very close. If it wasn't for Steve, I probably wouldn't be here on TV today." But I called Steve up, my boss. He's vice president in charge of talent. I said, Steve, I'm done. I'm going back coaching. I can't work in TV. I'm getting mocked out. My eye, he says, come on, man. You got to be crazy. We didn't hire you for the eye. We hired you for your ability and enthusiasm, your energy and knowledge. Don't let that guy get the best of you. Come on. So anyway, I couldn't sleep for a couple of days. Finally told my wife I'm going back to see that doctor. And I went back to see him. I said, I'm going to take a shot. Please. I said, I don't want to lose my vision. So anyway, I went. He did the surgery. He then took me out. I was doing these thick Coke bottle glasses. And he said, I'm getting out of those, put you in a contact, and my life changed. It really did.